Where is the half space? If we divided the pitch into 5 different sections, the half space would be the vertical channel between the wider areas, the flanks, or the central channel. And the ultimate goal when progressing the ball through the half spaces is so we can create better goal scoring opportunities through the central channel. But also, you have great passing angles to play in behind the fences. So, for example, if we have a wing back, he can get down the byline and we can play the through ball from the half space for the fullback to drive down the byline and get a pullback across. Or from the half space, your striker can make a nice run in behind the fences and he can latch on from a through pass from the half space. The half space is a channel that is used to disorganise the opponent's defence shape, and therefore it can be rewarding. So rather than the area being a destination for your attacks, it would be an area you want to play through in order to reach your destination. So today we're going to have a look at how we can progress play through the half channels, credit and thanks to Total Football Analysis. And if you are new or you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, make sure your notifications are turned on so you are notified every time I release a video. And also, this video is sponsored by OneFootball. If you enjoy watching free football, then you probably should check this out. OneFootball and the RDF Tactics channel have chosen to collab once again. Downloading this app would help this channel out in many ways, but why exactly should you download it? The OneFootball app is an excellent app for football fans. It's the best place to check recent news, legally watch matches, yes, for free, and you can follow your team and be notified when something major happens. It's also great to check out the latest transfer rumours, and if you're like me, you don't want to miss out on any rumours. Transfer season can be fun. Once all the league starts up as well, it's a great app to check statistics. This channel creates recreations. Using the OneFootball app helps grab vital stats, but also you will have access to team lineups before the football match starts. This is a great app if you want to follow football around the world or get the latest news just on your team. So make sure you try it out, but it does also help this channel out a lot and gives it many great opportunities to grow. So give it a go and I promise you won't regret it. Naturally, the half space area between the central area and the wings provide a diagonal passing option for a player to receive in or a player to pass from. These passes are at a shorter distance than if they were played from the centre to the wings or vice versa, and given a better likelihood of a completion and easier to retain possession. We can see 2 examples in these following images. Here shows a player operating in the right half space and able to play inside to the central midfielder due to the angle being created by the ball carrier. The second example shows the ball carrier in the central channel with the ball, looking to play forward due to the angle created by a player moving into the half space to move defences. Due to the half space being genuinely too wide for a central defender or a central midfielder to move over comfortably to pick up a player and too narrow for a wide player to tuck inside, it means that a player can find space in these areas, especially if they choose to operate between the lines. There are many variations of how you can build up using the half space to progress, but considering we are using the 4-4-2 in FM, we can see how we can build up using this shape. The number 6 in the system would look to drop to offer a passing option, attracting the opponent's midfield, which creates space for the winger to come inside and collect the ball from the goalkeeper in the half space. The winger on the ball would then have a short passing option either out to the flank, another player dropping to receive in the same lines, or can find the pass to the far-sided striker in the central area. In the second scenario, rather than playing to the half space, we look to receive the ball whilst in the half space to then play to the central channel. The positioning of the central midfielders come down to whether we want an attacking player to be the receiver in space or immediately have options. If you choose to operate between the lines, you should be able to create a good angle for the passer as if the player has the ball in the central channel or the wing, and the distance between the player in the half space should roughly be the same. Going forward, the principle will remain in the opposition half as it would when we are building up. With now fewer opposing players behind the ball, we can look to directly create goal scoring opportunities. These may come from passes being played from the half spaces into the central channels, or by playing behind the fence, where we would look to have a forward either take a shot on themselves or make a pullback cross. Due to the closer proximity to the goal from the half spaces than the wings, we can look to pull defenders, either fullbacks or centre backs, out to the back line into these areas and then hit the space in behind them. As they do this, they can drag another defender out of the back line, although this time horizontally, and create space centrally. In a real life example, we can see how the central midfielder vacates the forward half space to create the passing option for the winger, and in doing so, the forward's run will pull the Wolves defender across, leaving space between them in the centre. This movement is similar to what we want to achieve in Football Manager with our 4-4-2. We utilise the fullbacks who will operate on the wider flanks, occupying the opponent's fullbacks, whilst having a winger come inside to operate in the half spaces, to pull a defender out and have a striker to make run into the space created, trying to pull another defender across to then create space centrally. Or, like Brighton, you could have a central midfielder start in a half space before moving out of the space to allow a forward to drop into the space, and in doing so, draw a defender out of the back line. If a player can receive in the half space in the opposition half and turn, they immediately have good several options on. In this case, Barnes has space to turn. From here, he can drive forward, play Vardy in behind, play Maddison in behind, who is on the left wing now, or play laterally to the supporting midfielder on his right. He could conceivably even look to play to his right winger in too. All of these options are available because of the amount of space that he is in, but also because of the various angles that are open to him thanks to his position. Both of these factors came from being positioned in the half space. Driving forward into the half space can be particularly effective in the final third, where they can bring the opposition defence more narrow. Of course, the back four is narrow and there is space on the outside of them. And should you engage the fullback, then you can leave space for the striker to spin off. From this area, like in the screenshot, Vardy can cut behind the back four and receive a straight pass through the half space channel. But unfortunately, that wraps up this very brief analysis, but I must stress there are many ways that you can progress the ball using the half space. But now, let's head over to FM to see how we can implement this tactical theory. So here we are in FM21, and as you can see, RDS attacked the half space 4-4-2. So this is the shape that we went with. It's kind of inspired by Jesse March's Leipzig at the moment. They aren't performing too well, but I've seen some nice tactical ideas. I just wanted to kind of replicate it a little, and I know my previous video was a 4-4-2, but trust me, this one is just as exciting. But what we're going to do is quickly pick the team so we can see the 5 vertical channels, and as you can see, we have the left wing, the left half space, the central channel, the right half space, and the right wing. So on Football Manager, they are actually helping us by showing us this little diagram. Or is diagram the right word I'm looking for? I'm not sure, but you know what I mean. So as you can see, we are trying to operate in these half spaces. We want some light greens in the half space. So as we can see, there's a light green here and there's a fairly light green here, but we are using inverted wing back. So though their starting position may be out on the flanks, they will be moving inside and therefore can be operating in that half space the majority of the time. But as I said, Football Manager showing these 5 vertical channels will help you out a lot when it comes to trying to progress play through those vertical channels or through those half spaces. So with this tactic, we are pretty direct. There's not much shorter passing. So once one of the central defenders has the ball, though one of the central midfielders may look to drop, we do want the ball played into these areas so we can turn defense to attack fairly quickly. For the attacking instructions, we are using the attacking mentality. The attacking width is set to standard, so we are trying to look mainly in those central areas, but obviously nothing too disciplined where we are purely focusing on that half space. Playing on standard, we can actually start out wide, but then look to bring play into those central channels. We are going to be playing out from the defense as well. The passing directness is slightly more direct, so we aren't playing the shorter passing. We are going to be looking to pressurize our opponents, and we are using a much higher tempo. In the final third, we are going to be sending in the whipped crosses and work the ball into the box. When it comes to the transition, when the possession has been lost, we are going to look to counter press to try and win the ball back as soon as possible, of course. And when possession has been won, we will then look to counter. When the goalkeeper's in possession, he will look to distribute it to the centre backs and take short kicks, doing so. Lastly, out of possession, we are using the offside trap, a higher line of engagement with a higher defensive line. The pressing intensity is set to extremely urgent, that Red Bull style of football. We are going to be preventing the short goalkeeper distribution as well as getting stuck in. Now for the player roles, in goal we do have a sweeper keeper under defensive duty. The fullback on the left has a fullback role but an automatic duty, so naturally he's going to be taking an attacking mentality. He's going to cross down the byline, dribble more, run wide with the ball, shoot less and mark tighter. So really he's just going to look to operate in those wider flanks, but mainly high and wide as well. The right back is a fullback on a supportive duty. He's going to cross from the byline as well, dribble more, run wide with the ball, shoot less often and mark tighter. So similar to the fullback on the attacking duty, but just not as adventurous. In central defence, we have a ball playing defender, someone that can break lines with their passing, and a central defender who's going to be taking that safer option. In central midfield, we have a central midfielder on the supportive duty. He's just mainly going to operate in those central channels. He can operate in that half space as well as the central channel, and the box-to-box midfielder is similar, but he's going to be getting up and down more often. On the flanks, on the left flank, we have an inverted winger, someone that can come in on that half space. He's going to be taking more risks, crossing aim into the centre, getting further forward, sitting narrower, so already he's kind of positioning himself in that half space, and he's also going to be marking tighter. For the inverted winger on the right, we're not looking for him to start in those central channels. He can actually start out wider, and once he receives the ball and he dribbles more directly than inverted winger on the support, then he's going to look to bring the ball into those central channels where he can link up nicely with the false nine, who is mainly going to operate in those half spaces as well. So of course we are using a false nine up top as well as an advanced forward up top. So when you are creating your tactic and you are trying to look to build through those half channels, make sure you have the analysis clicked on, and then you can see where your players will mainly look to operate on the field. But that there is the tactic all wrapped up, all explained. We can look at the results. We're just going to look at the results briefly before ending this video. So now let's look at the results. So for the results in the Bundesliga, as you can see, we finished as the Bundesliga champions. In the UEFA Champions League, we got knocked out in the first round by Manchester United, which isn't good enough. And in the DFB Pokal, we got knocked out in the second round by Meppen. Again, simply not good enough. But in the Bundesliga, if we check some statistics, we scored 94 goals using this tactic. But defensively, we weren't as strong. We did concede 35, which isn't the most in the league, but then again, it could have been better. We did get a points tally of 86. Now looking at some stats, you can see that we scored the most goals, we had the most shots for, we did have the fewest shots against, but we were kind of leaky. For the best pass completion, we aren't in the top 8, mainly because we're playing more direct, and for the average possession, we are 4th with 54%. For the most tackles won, we aren't in the top 8. For the most dribbles made, we are 3rd with 101. For the most clean sheets, like I said, defensively we weren't as strong as we should have been, and we aren't in the top 8. For the fewest conceded, we are joint 5th with 35. For the player statistics, for the top goal scorer is Haaland, of course, on 29, but we do have Andre Silva on 26 and Ademola Lookman, surprisingly, also on 26 goals, so the strikers were banging. For the assists, we have Emil Forsberg on 12. Statistically, we've done fairly well if we look at the team report. As you can see, we were aggressive and clinical in our attacking efficiency, but when we look at our defensive efficiency, we were quiet, but we were leaky. So maybe that's something to do with the defensive line, or because of the fullbacks looking to get up, it leaves space out on the wider areas, and then that is when we're getting hurt on our transition. But that is how we are performing attacking and defensively. If we look at some of the squad stats, the squad selection, look at the goals. Ademola Lookman scored 32 goals, so the most for Leipzig. Again, surprising. Andre Silva scored 30 in 39 starts. Dani Olmo got 10 goals. Looking at the assists, Emil Forsberg was the most creative player in our side with 14 assists, and Dani Olmo has 11. But unfortunately, that wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope this video kind of helped you when it comes to creating your tactic. I know I'm supplying a tactic, but hopefully you got some ideas on the half space and how to utilize it to progress up the field. But unfortunately, that wraps up the video. If you are new or you haven't yet, make sure you are subscribed. Make sure your notifications are turned on as well. Hit that like button, leave a comment for any tactical recommendations. I will see you guys soon. Don't forget to download that OneFootball app as well. I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe, peace out, and have a good day.